We are just coming out of 5 years with the highest greenhouse gas emissions in human history, which means that we're now tracking in the latter part of this century to a 4 degrees Celsius mean temperature change. Now, if you all go Google that, so here's Google request number 1 for all of my friends who write and report and care about this, go Google 4 degrees Celsius, and you'll find a little problem there. There aren't that much analysis of the impact.
Only thing I'm going to Google is all the hot air and toxins coming out of Glenn Murray's mouth. Let's bring in Paige McPherson and John Downs. My head is almost exploding over the nonsense I just heard.
Really entertaining. It's almost more entertaining than the crap that he's spewing.
It's ridiculous what we were just hearing because he's absolutely full of garbage.
Look, in the end, I think it will drive prices down in the end.
What's the end? Where is that?
Bankrupt?
Well, look,
What's the end there?
When's the end?
it's quite simple. You can't.
You know that Australia took this off the table, right?
No, I understand that, but I also understand where Australia's commitment is on climate change. Look, there's going to be an impact, there's no question, in the short term, and it is a tax, and it will have an impact on the everyday human being's bottom line.
Poor middle class people they care so much about.
But you should not, as an industry, first of all, you should not be able to pollute without any sort of disincentive there. This has been going on too long.
Oh, God, John.
It's the fact. And look, I'm one of these people who go out of my way to try to patronize businesses
When was the last
effort.
day we had a smog day in Ontario?
It's been a long time.
It's been years.
And why?
And why?
Because of the
nuclear.
efforts that were made in, especially in the
we got
Midwest,
rid
in
of
the
coal.
United States.
Right.
That was a big part of it. But I have absolutely no problem on, call it taxing, on pricing or whatever, businesses and people who are going to patronize businesses that are massive polluters.
But here's the best part.
Paige.
Here's the best part of this press conference
Counter this,
about how they tried to sell it as a price reduction for us taxpayers.
Oh yeah, that's a load.
So they tried to say that it would lower our prices on food, lower our prices on transportation, and lower our prices on building. Glenn Murray said that multiple times. I mean, okay, first of all, if you're going to introduce a carbon tax, which is what this will be, regardless of whether they call it pricing or revenue tool or whatever it is, it's going to be a tax. Campaign on it. They didn't campaign on it, and 12 days after the election, when Premier Wynne was asked about it, she said that the carbon tax was not in her plan. Yet, this is this massive, catastrophic thing that's happening. We absolutely have to make it a priority. So what, has it only been a priority in the last 2 months? She couldn't tell us after the election that this was part of her plan? Completely dishonest. And now they have the audacity to stand there in front of taxpayers and tell people who are listening that it will lower their cost of living. That is dishonest and completely unethical, because carbon tax raises the cost of living, which, by the way, in introducing the HST in 2010, they already did start taxing our energy consumption.
But I want to ask you this, because you're from British Columbia. British Columbia has carbon pricing, which I think they're trying to mirror. The big difference about the way BC did it, and by the way, it's not working there either, because more people than ever are now in their cars. They did it with a counterbalance where they reduced a tax and brought in this carbon pricing. So there was no raise in tax. This is not what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So there's a few problems, I think, with the British Columbia idea that it somehow raised or lowered carbon emissions. Now we see that carbon emissions are back up to their pre-2008 levels, which is when that carbon tax was introduced. So yes, there was a temporary dip, could have been caused, I don't know what it was caused by, but now they're back up to those levels. And on top of that, the British Columbia government did lower, I think it was income taxes, as well as bringing in that carbon tax. Yeah. So it was, I guess, revenue neutral, and it wasn't as huge of an impact on taxpayers in British Columbia. But at the same time, the 10 top highest gas price jurisdictions in all of North America are all in the lower mainland of BC, where most of the people in that province live, which means that a lot of people are paying a lot of money for their tax.
The other thing that stuck out of the nonsense and crap that he just said is about, if he's going to have $600 million brought in, he wants to be able to invest it in infrastructure. Not one point did I hear him say, we will pay down deficit with whatever we bring in. This government has no plan to reduce any debt or deficit. All they want to do is keep taxing and taxing, because they promised everybody what they were going to do, and they have no strategy.
Well, let's be honest.
I'd like them to be honest, because they lie.
But as far as sitting at a podium goes and saying, I'd use this money to pay down the deficit, that's not sexy. No government would actually really say that.
No, Ontarians would welcome it. It would show that they get it.
But his whole point was, why would we be investing in businesses that actually create carbon when we could be investing in businesses
it won't won't matter,
prevent
John,
it.
because the businesses, what few are left, are going to leave.
Well, no, here's the thing though. Look, when it comes down to it, if you are one of these businesses that are polluting, I don't understand why you should be able to do so. The auto industry, for example.
Really? The ones that they keep bailing out with billions in subsidies?
And look, there's plenty of irony there.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why anyone believes that there should not be some kind of consequence to polluting the air that we breathe. And whether you're willing to say, okay,
Canada does not have a pollution problem. Even with the oil sands, we aren't breaking this rule.
the world has a pollution problem. There's no
China has a
question.
pollution
Exactly.
problem. So punish them.
Well, at least they're getting together with the states and making some cursory
come
promises.
on.
That was a complete made-up, hooey-gooey, nonsensical headline that doesn't
Fine.
even come with checks and balances.
Fine, but at least they know the direction
well, they
that the
gave
world wants
at
to
least
see
they
them
gave a
go.
headline.
They're
and people
able
like
to be
you bought
dishonest
into it.
and to taxpayers there in China and people across the world, just like the Liberal government here is able to be dishonest about
Yeah.
what they're doing.
They
Don't you see a
lied to the
problem?
taxpayers.
I just got
they
back.
didn't give us a mandate to vote on it. Ontario's going to get
No,
slammed
because
with
it's
two
not
huge.
sexy. People don't vote
so
for
neither
tax
was
increases.
the pension tax, but people got at least a chance. If they had campaigned on this crap, I have to think that no one would
Sorry,
have
this is
voted
where
for
the
it.
voters get it wrong. Voters don't want to pay higher taxes. I understand that, but this will incentivize business
No, it won't.
to calm it down. Well, it
they
does.
won't.
This will
It
incentivize
does.
business to raise prices on consumers, which has
It will
happened in
In the
every
short term, it
jurisdiction
might. In the
where
short
we've
term, it
seen.
might. And you know what? If you're using those businesses, if you're patronizing those businesses, if you're buying products from those businesses, too bad.
No, this is a.
I'm glad to see
Yeah,
your
if you're
taxes
filling
go
up your car with gas, too bad. You deserve it. If you have to drive because you live in rural Ontario
And
and,
when-
there is no expensive transit system that your government is providing for you, too bad.
Sorry,
you should
yeah,
be
look,
punished.
this is going to
Buy
punish the
more
very
energy.
people they care about, the vulnerable, the middle class. John, it's not just your gas that's going to go up, which, by the way, the price of oil will go back up. Everything's going to go up. Your milk, your diapers, your formula, the food that the farmers are going to be bringing in by apparently their dead orchards. I mean, there's so much about this that is so disingenuous, brought to us by a government that lies, has nothing better than crime on its hand and scandals. It is so mind-boggling to me that they think that people are
doesn't
going
mean
to.
it's not the right thing to do, and it is.
John, my head's exploding
I
today.
know. Makes
Anyway,
for good TV, Alex.
I gotta go.